Welcome to the GCN Tech Show.
This week it's Conor and I, because Cuthbert is on a top secret mission in Italy. But fear not, we've got loads, including virtual cafe stops in Zwift, a bling bike build, a watt-saving chain design that's new, and our main talking point.
Are tubeless tyres dangerous?
Straight on to our main talking point then. Are tubeless tyres dangerous? Right, we got thinking about this after watching Paris-Roubaix at the weekend and seeing several crashes like this.
Il a crevé et ça a déjanté complètement.
Peloton. Lampe, Asgreen. Casper, on cherche. Il est là, Van Barle, exactement. À côté de Casper, Van Barle, Casper au sol, c'est terminé.
Last weekend we were treated one of the best editions of Paris-Roubaix perhaps ever.
Yeah, my favourite race of the year.
Yeah,
the Hell of the
amazing.
North. It didn't disappoint. And if you didn't catch the action, you can watch the entire race right from kilometre zero on demand, ad-free on GCN Plus. Although territory restrictions do apply.
Which is a good thing, because in Paris-Roubaix the action starts so early, you just don't know what's going to happen in a way. So it is worth tuning in for the whole race. It's different to other races, which you kind of build to a crescendo at the end. Whereas in Roubaix, something can happen anywhere.
Yeah, before they even get to the cobbles.
Yeah, it's just mayhem, pure mayhem. But we love the tech of Paris-Roubaix too. And this year, I think, has marked quite a big change from tubulars to tubeless.
Yeah.
It's an era change in a way.
Well, when you were racing, you didn't do Paris-Roubaix.
I didn't do Paris-Roubaix, I did a lot of cobbles.
Yeah, you raced on the cobbles, and it was, tubular tyres were what everyone used all the time. And then we've seen this change where, last year, maybe half of the teams were using tubeless, the other half were still on tubulars. Year before that, maybe it was a couple of teams on tubeless. Year before that, it was no one on tubeless. And then this year, everyone on tubeless.
I didn't actually think we'd see it, especially at the Cobble Classics. So we trialled tubeless tyres back in 2017. We thought they were great, but for cobbled races, we always kind of steered away from them, mainly because if you flatted, it felt like you just go straight onto the rim and roll a tyre, and that was our biggest fear. I mean, if you're going at slower speeds, you can keep it up, but the likes of Paris-Roubaix, when you're hauling along at 60, 70k an hour for most of the time, it did feel like a bit of a, too big a risk to take.
Yeah.
Which is why I personally always moved away from them. But since then, and actually since being at GCN using tubeless tyres a lot, personally I think the technology has improved so much that if I was going back, I would use tubeless now. Now, the switch to tubeless does have its benefits.
Yeah.
Punctures, for example, may improve your ability to fix a puncture
it can fix
on the fly.
Yeah.
It can fix itself up. But also, I think the most important gain is rolling resistance over tubeless tyres. It's better.
Yeah, there's been lots of studies on this, but, websites like bicyclerolling-resistance.com, they're an authority on this. I mean, they've done tests that typically show a sort of tubeless setup at 25 miles an hour worth sort of 13 watts of rolling resistance versus a equivalent tubular setup being 18 watts rolling resistance at 25 miles an hour. Quite a big difference.
So you're talking about 5 watts.
Yeah.
And in the context of pro racing, that's quite a lot, really. I mean,
it doesn't sound like much to some people, but it is a lot.
But 5 watts on an alpine climb, for example, that's a kilo body
typically
weight.
Worth more than a kilo.
Yeah, so on the flats, that is an advantage.
Yeah, but the key disadvantage, I think, of the tubeless setup, especially in pro racing, is that if you flat on a tubular tyre, because it's glued to the rim, it's that thing, what you're saying, it can stay on, and you can sort of nurse it. You can ride the flattered rim and tyre together and sort of then either just keep rolling along until the service comes along or your team car comes along to give you a spare wheel, or, it's just safer, the fact that the tyre's staying on the rim, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the sort of insurance policy you have with a tubular tyre, is that if you do get a massive catastrophic flat, you know that it's not just going to disappear.
Yeah.
And you can at least roll for a little bit, get your bike under control, come to a stop.
Whereas what we're seeing in sort of several of these incidents at Roubaix, which is horrific conditions for a tyre to be under.
It's beyond probably what you're talking about for the tyres.
What you're seeing is that rapid loss of pressure from a tubeless system, whereby the tyre just becomes detached from the rim, and then you're riding on the rim, and the rim just disintegrates underneath you.
Yeah. It's just that huge impact I think you get on the cobbles in Roubaix, where it's literally like riding into a pavement.
Yeah.
As hard as you can, repeatedly, into a curbstone.
And one of the things that can defeat tubeless tyres is that, like, if you just rode straight into the curb, or a massive pothole, sometimes you can still get that sidewall damage to the tyre, where the sidewall almost can detach from the bead of the tyre, at which point then sealant isn't going to work. It's just gone.
So why aren't we seeing more teams using inserts?
Well, that's a good point. So something that got us, thinking about this was actually Geraint Thomas and Luke Rowe talking about this on their podcast, What's Occurring? And
good Welsh accent.
Thanks. And in that, he was saying that Ineos are using inserts in these races. So inserts, you may or may not be familiar with these. Sai did a great video on some Vittoria inserts a few years ago. And these go inside your tyres, and what they enable you to do is basically have like a run flat system in there. So even when the tyre has lost all its air, you've got this foam core that's able to expand, and then you can you can ride it and it helps keep the tyre on the rim. Yeah,
plus they're actually really useful for helping support the sidewall of your tyre as well. So if you do have those massive impacts, which you do see at Roubaix, the idea is that they should support the tyre a bit more and help avoid a puncture from that sort of impact.
Now, of course, they add a little bit of weight.
That's the downside.
And so cyclists always hate that.
Yeah, and I can imagine the debates before the race about whether to use them or not.
Yeah, and then also there's a slight rolling resistance penalty apparently for having them in. Only slight, it's moving around sort of 2 to 3 watts. But again, some teams opting not to use them because they want the faster rolling setup. But Luke Rowe was arguing that he thinks that teams should be using them, and you should just pedal 2 or 3 watts faster and have that safety net. That's as a safety feature, you should be using them.
I mean, I think the same, to be honest. I mean, not just as a safety feature, but a race like Roubaix, your race is just over if you puncture. So I would make the sacrifice of power to be able to stay in the race, because once if you flatten Arenberg, that's it. You're out of it.
Well, we saw that in several instances.
All you want to do is just keep on going. You want to be in with a shout. The less chance you have of puncturing, the better.
Yeah. Well, we know Ineos were using liners. I also would believe that Jumbo were using them too, on the basis that when Laporte flattered in Arenberg and also Van Aert flattered later on in the race, they were able to continue riding those sectors. They didn't have that complete loss of pressure. The tyre stayed on the rim. I mean, Van Aert even got the KOM.
Yeah, it was interesting.
On Carrefour de l'Arbre with a flat.
Yeah, because you saw him he looked down as if he punctured, and then he kind of followed. And you could tell he had, but when you looked back at his rear wheel, you couldn't actually see if it was flat or not. So it was that sort of, he must have known he'd flatted, but it was just fighting to keep the inflation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And he rode on. But if it hadn't been for that, he'd have been immediately fishtailing all over the road.
The other thing we should point out is that they did have that tyre inflation hub tech on their bikes, on the Jumbo bikes. So maybe that was contributing as well. Maybe that was fighting to try and keep some air in the tyre, but then just being overwhelmed by the puncture was just too much for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we can't comment it because we've never tried all of these systems. We definitely need to get our hands on one.
Yeah, I want to try one.
See what sort of difference it makes.
So obviously this can make a big difference in Roubaix, but it's not just about Roubaix. What about if you were, descending and you were going like 80 kilometers an hour and then you have a catastrophic blowout or tyre failure and your tyre comes off the rim? Like, tubeless could be... It could be really dangerous in that instance, Should liners and inserts be a mandatory thing for pro racing? I
mean, I can see where that argument would come from, and I wouldn't say no to it. But at the same time, I think the technology in tubeless tyres has improved so much that now I personally would be confident to do 100 km/h plus descent in the bunch on tubeless tyres. On the road, because you're not putting the bike through as many impacts as you would in Roubaix. You're not doing that massive, jarring attack on the cobbles all the time. But potholes still exist. There are still obstacles out there on the road that you can hit. That's kind of part of bike handling as well, because it doesn't matter what you're riding, what tyres you have. If you hit a hole at over 100 km/h, you're either puncturing or you're breaking your wheel or you're doing something or you're losing your hands on the bars and just crashing. So it's like anything can happen. It's part of the danger.
Yeah.
And with tubulars, you can still roll a tubular. It can still come off
that's a good point.
It can still come off if it's not been put on right, or I don't know, temperatures are high, glue melts slightly, whatever theory you have. I've seen it happen. Not nice.
Yeah.
It's like being in Mario Kart and seeing a fellow racer just disappear.
Well, it always happens on a corner as well.
Yeah,
You're going on a
it's
corner and
horrible.
the tyre just goes.
Oh, it's so horrible to see. You just hear that noise of the carbon on the tarmac, and it's like, and you can't keep that up no matter who you are.
I remember a few years ago it happened to Chris Froome on a training ride, I think in Tenerife. And I think it was because the temperature was so warm in his sunshine training camp that it contributed to softening the glue on the tyre.
And on the flip side, I have flattered a tubular at speed on a descent and held it up because it's rolling on the rim, and all you need to do is just stay straight, use the brake on the on the wheel that's got pressure on it, and just gradually bring yourself to a stop, and you can kind of control the bike.
Yeah.
If you're just on the rim straight, like it's being like being on ice.
Yeah.
Still keep it up, but you're relying on the wheel not to brake.
It's scary. It's one of the things you just don't ever want to think about that kind of happening. But I think for myself, and I think for the vast majority of the viewers, I think tubeless is undoubtedly the best thing to go for.
For sure, yeah, and
because we're not doing what pro riders do.
Yeah, for sure. Unless you're going to hurt yourself down a descent at 130 kilometres an hour, and potentially will ride into a load of holes, which really not many of us are. And if you are, you're already taking a bit of a risk.
But I think we should have a poll, right? But for pro racing, as a piece of safety equipment, should tyre liners inserts be mandatory?
I'm going to say no.
Right.
But in Roubaix, maybe.
But in Roubaix, maybe.
Yeah. Oh. If we start to see similar sorts of crashes, I think maybe it could be a good idea.
Right. Well, let us know your thoughts on this in the comments below, and also you can vote in the poll on the GCN app. Time now for Hot Tech, and we're beginning this week with some hot Zwift news. Now, anyone that follows me on Strava will know that I Zwift a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm particularly excited about these new features, especially this one, virtual coffee stops or cafe stops in Zwift. It's actually happening.
I like this. So basically this lasts 3 minutes and it allows you to stay in the group ride or bunch that you're in, whilst at the same time jumping off your bike, running to the door, signing for a package, maybe going to the toilet, filling your bottles up, grabbing a towel.
All the things that you forget.
Yeah.
You're 15 minutes into your ride.
Suddenly you need to do it.
I need a wee now.
But filling up your water, that's an important one.
Yeah.
Unless you manage to Zwift right next to the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
It is tough.
Yeah, it is. And then, so it gives you that 3 minutes. Once that 3 minutes is up though, you can't take the, you've got to get back. Otherwise you get dropped.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as any other ride. You don't want to wait for someone too long. So it's like time's ticking.
Yeah, 3 minutes. That's not all though. There's a rider teleport feature that's coming in the summer. And what that allows you to do is, say you're riding in Zwift and then one of your friends comes in to the same Zwift world as you. You can teleport to their location, but it stays as one ride for you. It doesn't stop that activity and start a new activity. It stays in one activity. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Also means that if you're riding around and you start a ride with a robo pacer, and you're like, actually, this is too hard for me, or too easy for me, I'm feeling good, you can, teleport to a different pace robo-pacer, and it stays within that one activity.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely helpful. But that's not all. There's also the Climb segment portal. Now, this is pretty cool. So basically, if you want to try some of the many famous climbs around the world, you now can on Zwift, because they're replicating, to begin with, Tourmalet Aspan in Zwift. So you can ride it in the game, get a feel for the climb. There's going to be more added as this progresses and develops.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because I love riding out to Zwift and that replication, and the way you can ride a real life climb virtually is like training before you go and ride it for real life. I love that. It's
really interesting, useful actually. So when I was racing, I did the World Champs a few times, and so it's Richmond, Yorkshire actually, and also the one in Austria, Innsbruck. So I could do the course before I got there.
Did you actually find that useful?
Yeah, we could find it useful. You can see the gradients, see what the length of the circuit was, and then you got there, practice it a bit yourself once you're there.
You kept that quiet.
And now it's kind of nice because I can ride it on Zwift and it's like reminiscent a bit. it's kind of cool. Now everyone can do it with different climbs around the world.
So Aspan and Tourmalet in the Pyrenees, for those who aren't aware, but they're actually connected. So you normally ride one and then the other, straight away, they're like joined next to each other. So I'd be interested to see if you can do that in Zwift.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And I wonder what climbs will come next. Like, I think they should do the
What would you like to see?
The Koppenberg. I think always get like or even that really steep climb that we did in Italy, steepest climb in the world.
Oh, God.
Imagine that alternative. You need to use your gravel bikes to get up it.
Oh, God. I hope they don't do that one. I think...
Stelvio, Mortirolo?
Stelvio. It's got to be Stelvio.
Stelvio would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Some watt-saving hot tech for you now. Now, Trevor might be on a top-secret mission in Italy, but Peyton's patent patrol never sleeps. And in the exciting world of things that may never happen or ever be made, Ceramic Speed has just been granted a patent for a new kind of chain design that features rocker plates.
Yeah, rather than using traditional pins and rollers, it uses a lower friction rocker joint. Now, rocker joints are nothing new. They've been used in higher load applications such as vehicles for a while now. But to see them transferred over to bicycles is quite interesting.
Yeah, it is. Now, it's pretty techy, like the sort of how it works and saves
Yeah, I was trying to figure the diagrams out.
Yeah, so you instead of having that normal pin that pins the different chain links together, what instead you have is sort of 3 pieces with sort of gaps in between. Now, apparently this system is able to lower friction, but there are probably some challenges because where there's gaps, dirt can get in. So maybe that could be a challenge. If dirt gets in, is it still efficient? And on a bicycle chain, they're exposed to dirt. I don't know. Either way, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I look forward to seeing what happens. Right, last in hot tech this week, got some bike porn for you.
Okay, show me.
So, 5Dev, the engineering components brand, have done an Uber gravel bike build. I saw this, thought it was pretty special. We should tell you about it. So, this is a specialised diverge. I mean, you're going to need a gravel bike soon because you're going to be doing Unbound, right?
I know, yeah, it's on my mind all the time. So,
well, if you've got $17,500 US, you could have bought this, but unfortunately you can't because it's already been sold and they only made one. So this is the spec that's on it, right? So it's specialised Diverge S-Works frame, and then it's got MV wheels, it's got muck-off anodised valves, muck-off AirTag holder, it's got MV handlebars, Supercaz Cush bar tape. Then it's got some really nice 5Dev bits on it. So check out that titanium stem.
Oh, that's outrageous.
Yeah, it's like sort of hollow truss design, saves weight, looks beautiful. It's got their gravel crank on it. Again, like hollowed out titanium, just like, and that chainring on there as well. It's proper nice looking kit, isn't it? Like all titanium stuff. And then it's, SRAM.
The full shebang, basically.
SRAM access, everything, and Kogel ceramic bearings.
I mean, if you won the lottery, could be a first buy.
Yeah.
Until then.
Well, you can't because it's sold and they only made one.
Yeah.
So not even then. Yeah. Anyway, pretty cool. Quite like that.
Yeah, that was banging fine, that.
It's time now for comments of the week. Now, the man on rap has gone down. It's gone down. Now, I think we need something from you, Connor. I think. Oh, you're wearing a baseball cap backwards, which suggests to me you're ready to rap.
I'm on a bad hair day.
I think, come on, you can top the man on rap.
Go on then. I wasn't prepared, and now I'm prepared. Now I'm not shying away from a challenge. Let's do it.
Okay,
right.
do you want me to give you some beats?
Give me some sort of beat. I'll come in when I feel I'm ready.
Okay.
It's time for comment of the week, where we look for someone who isn't meek on the tech show, where we like to grow and flow with the beats. You know what I mean. Tech show comment of the week.
Cool.
That was it.
That's mad. I think we could go far.
Yeah, I reckon we should.
Yeah.
If we make a band, we could get a little slot at the pub.
Right. So first comment from last week's show, because I wasn't here. So Cuthbert was presenting with Max Stedman,
I love
friend of the channel.
Names. Yeah, Max is a great guy.
And a lot of comments saying how much they enjoyed Max on the show. So this one from D. Clum says, Max is such a natural fit for a presenter. I certainly wouldn't mind seeing more of him, especially while he's looking for a pro contract.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Top guy. Let's get him back on.
Yeah, I think we should put him in a video in a race on a climb against Feather.
And we should pick one where they should be quite equally matched. I think Max prefers the longer ones.
Yeah.
Feather likes the shorter one.
Yeah. What about the climbs?
So we need a climb just about in the middle.
Slow there. Anyway.
Moving on.
Right, on to the ruining your bike video. We've got a comment here from 321 Biter. So this was a comment saying I've been washing my bikes with washing up liquid for umpteen years without any problems at all. There was a lot of comments about this. So in this video, I basically said, don't wash your bike with washing up liquid because while it's designed for your casserole dish, it's often a bit more acidic than what you'd use on your bike. It has surfactants that aren't designed for bikes, and it's not designed for painted surfaces in general, so it can cause you over time to dull the finish on your bike. And if you wanted to keep your bike looking tip-top, don't use it.
Okay.
Do you use washing up liquid on your bike?
I did. I always did. I don't anymore. Now I use a specialist cleaning solution.
Yeah, well...
From Silka.
Right, so, I mean...
But washing up liquid was always on hand when I used to wash it on my bike, so good old squirt.
Yeah, well...
Mix it up.
You can use washing up liquid on your bike if that's one of the freedoms that's afforded to you. Live your life. However, I won't be using it on my bike, and I would use a proper product.
Yeah, I use a specialist product with my pressure washer now. And then moving on. Sorry, I'm very gentle with it. It's a gentle beast from a distance.
All right. You can do the next comment.
Percy TP sent this one in. Great video. I'd like to know, in addition to his bike, how he keeps his hair so nice. Definitely no washing up, good. Nor sprays going on there. In all seriousness, more amazing content. Thanks for getting in touch, Percy.
Silk and nanny and wax.
Is his hair? Is it?
Silk and nanny and wax. That's what that is.
Is it actually?
Yeah. Got graphene in it.
My hair is absolutely terrible, but it's because Marcel Kittel made me get a haircut in the Philippines. In a doc, which is actually out now on GCN Plus. So if you want to watch
check that out.
Yeah, go and check it out.
Why did he make you get a haircut?
Well, apparently he gets a haircut before a ride, and that's just, that's the way it goes.
You get a haircut before every ride?
I was marched into a hairdresser's to get a haircut.
Before every ride you get a haircut?
This is still it, so I haven't...
That's your Philippine haircut?
That's my
How much did it cost?
Filipino haircut. Not much. Hairdresser was great though. Big thanks for the haircut. Oh. And it was good when at the time, but it's a few months later now.
Right. Well, first last says, oh no.
I bought this cap in Mongolia as well, by the way, and another doc for GCN Plus.
Oh, I've put in an extra comment there, but it doesn't matter, we'll skip it.
Was that about how bad your haircut was?
No, there's loads of comments here.
You can't skip that one.
There's loads of comments about dish soap. And washing up liquid. That's the other thing that came out, right?
Yeah.
So something else that emerged from that video is Americans don't call it washing up liquid. Most of our audience are in America. In America, they call it dish soap.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's soap for dishes at the end of the day.
Yep.
Washing up liquid has various, connotations.
It does.
Which bike cleaning could get added into. So maybe that's the fault.
And while we're talking about Roubaix, we should also mention the Roubaix tech video that Manon did. It was excellent. A lot of you agreed as well. So some comments under that. Florian Posh says, I could be mistaken, but I can't recall Manon doing many hot tech videos. You are mistaken. She does do them. He says, big mistake. These really are entertaining. Right in the sweet spot between entertainment and tech geekery. Well done. More of it. Nice. And Michael Linetto said, oh no, that's not that one. Oh no, sorry. And Dave Hollingworth said, super interesting. Really well presented insights. Thank you, Manon. Thanks, Manon.
Cheers, Manon.
Right. And then the other thing that was pointed out was the DSM Jumbo-Visma using the inflation device. So there's a few comments about that. Including one saying that there were two outcomes for it, and this was from Michael Linetto, who said it fails and costs someone a shot at the front group, or it works flawlessly and DSM and Jumbo-Visma run away with the race and the UCI ban it. Well, while no team using it did win the race, Jordan Degenkolb...
He was almost on track to.
I mean, was that an aid because of the device being used? Who knows? And also, Jumbo-Visma were doing well until Laporte had that flat in Arenberg, and Van Aert had that flat. But up until that point,
few ifs and buts.
Yeah,
and maybes.
so those teams were doing well. So I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, there's something in it.
Anyway, on to the bike vault. On to our favourite part of the show.
Bike vault time.
Yeah, so as ever, submit your pictures of the bikes in the bike vault in the GCN app, and then you can vote on the bikes, and we can, well, then we might put them in the show, and then we decide if they go in the vault. If they go in the vault, what happens, man? Cheers.
Give them the bell.
Oh, anyway, right.
Never get bored of it. Never get bored of it.
So, most super nice bike last week was from Mark RP. It's
That's
a
pretty
Cervelo S5. What do you make of that?
I mean, the picture just, it has the sound of the wheels swishing, doesn't it? It's like what you see in the picture. And
I don't like the weird, like, bokeh blurring effect around the bike, but it is a super nice, I think.
Yeah, it's a super nice. You can't argue with that, really.
Beautiful bike. Yeah. Looks very fast as well. TCB Horizon next. What do you make to that?
I mean, it's a beauty, absolute beauty. But I think if we're going to apply the rules, we need to be fair across the board. And there's a few things that aren't, doing it.
But it's a
Background's too busy.
It's a Colnago Mexico with a Nuvo record on it, isn't it? And a gold chain.
Crank, yeah, that's nice. Crank arms up 2 o'clock though.
Is that some like Japanese cherry blossom on the
busy
ground
background? There? Busy background.
Yeah, and it is a jaunty angle.
So a jaunty angle, which we can't be, we can't be letting any old riff-raff in.
Yeah, I think it's a nice as well.
It's a nice, unfortunately.
It's so easily a super nice, that bike, if it's just presented better.
It would have been a banging super nice, but unfortunately, I'm being judge, jury, and executioner.
Okay, who's next?
So this is from Fernando Albar 1110. Pinero Dogma F.
Oh,
nice.
Very nice.
This is nice.
Very nice.
It's like a ceramic speed on the back as well there.
Yes.
Cranks aligned perfectly. Valves. So I thought it was going to be a perfect, but the valves mismatched.
Yeah.
All over the
not
shop.
Quite lined up there, are they?
As I said before, we have to uphold the rules for everyone.
And also, there's something that now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. It's a slight jaunty angle. If you look at the sort of horizon line, the wall, where the wall meets the floor, the bike's not level and straight.
Yeah,
it's wonky.
See, that's what a shadow stand would remedy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this
nice
isn't a trip to a sweet shop.
No.
Okay, right. So next up we have
a Villa Falanti SLR from Qualm.
I thought that was the name, but it's very, yeah.
What do you make of that?
I like this.
Shadow stand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bonus points.
Oh, he's ticked all the boxes. That's easy.
Yeah, super nice.
That is super nice.
Someone's
been paying attention.
I like the lines on the bike. I like the top tube and the saddle, and I don't know, something.
Yeah. Well, it was good when we rode to Alan's mum's house.
Yeah, enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was good. Next up, who have we got next?
We've got Smig MCFC.
No, we don't.
No, sorry, we don't have Smig. We have.
Oh yeah, we do.
We do, yeah. We have Smig MCFC. I think they're a Man City fan, maybe. Not sure on my football, but I think that's Man City.
Yeah.
And this is Cipollini NK1K, freshly painted, done by Dave at Addicted Bikes, rebuilt by Sam at Cheshire Cycles in Nantwich.
Yeah.
Sorry, the picture inside, but the weather's terrible. But that isn't an excuse.
It's a clean kitchen.
You could have waited for another day to go outside.
It's a clean kitchen.
It's a clean kitchen. I like the knife rack.
Yeah. Also, they're not suffering from the sort of national egg shortage we have in the UK right now.
They have chickens in the back.
Yeah.
One of our cameramen keeps chickens. Hasn't given me any eggs yet.
He has given me some.
Has he? See, he hasn't given me any eggs. Everyone's been getting eggs, apart from me. He knows I eat them all.
Cipollini NK1K. What are we saying?
Nice. Love the paint job as well. Yeah.
I just think, go back, take it, it's outside.
It's the one thing that's going to stop me ringing the bell.
Yeah.
Because it's all straight and everything. I think I'm being drawn to the eggs and the knives more than the bike.
I like
that
red sort of to silver white
that's
paint
nice.
job fade thing. I like it on the seat pin. That's cool. But yeah, nice. So next, who's next?
So this is you, isn't it? This is Oliver Bridgewood.
Oh, is it? Oh,
how have you infiltrated?
How did that get in there? How did that one get? Oh, how did that slip in?
You're like a little woodlouse crawling from one log to another. But fair enough. Well, it's not super nice, though, is it?
Why not?
Unless you're the flipping the writer of the rules here, and you've tripped yourself up.
I've just gone right. I'm going to make my rules.
Yeah, but you can't.
Why not?
Because we have the rules already. You can't just rewrite the rules. What do you take us for? It's not like you should know better. It's a great bike and everything, like not taking that away from you, but it's not face on. Like, and you got where's your shadow stand for one?
Couldn't find it.
Yeah, make the effort. You got to put the hard graft in here, Ollie.
Okay.
I know you got like special red lights and all that, but flipping heck.
Okay. I got carried away. I got excited by the red lights, and then.
Oh, that's exactly. You got distracted. That's what happened.
Yeah.
It's concentration at all times.
Okay. Well, last up, I've got a good one for you. Okay. This is Lawrence Rex, who it was 2 weeks ago, so before Paris-Roubaix, he posted his bike. Now, Lawrence,
got the training bike.
Get this, he came 9th.
Top 10 in Roubaix.
In Paris-Roubaix, and that was because he was in the break, who got caught by the hitters. And he amazing ride, like to survive on for a top 10 place from the early break. Anyway, he posted his bike before Roubaix. What do you make of that? That's his team bike, his Cube Lightning.
I mean, it's pretty nice. I mean, for starters, he could have gone to the effort of cleaning it. I mean, I know he's a pro and all, but I mean, come on, if you're uploaded in the GCN app, you've got to get a washed bike in there.
I think so, but
getting top 10 in Roubaix not an excuse.
Well, do you know what? I like that he's got a mud guard on.
I like that
because
that's taken away the mud guards all the way. Cranks are at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, they are, and he's got his saddlebag on. But he's a pro, and it's a training ride. And I think on the basis that he's come 9th in Roubaix,
we can make an exception.
I think we can. I think it's a super nice. Yeah.
I see your logic.
If he'd come 11th,
no,
it's
that top 10's just edged it for you, Lawrence.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's
congratulations.
all we've got time for this week. So, sorry if we've not included your bike, but just keep chucking your bike in the bike vault, and hopefully we'll get round to it. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
In Cuthbert's absence.
Yeah, Cuthbert.
It's been good. I'm sure he'll enjoy seeing you rap when.
I'm sure I like that one.
Cool.
I think I gave my best.
You did. Right. Well, hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.